Thank you, Mira. We really appreciate that. Now I have the pleasure of introducing Annette Bearhouse-Clay, the Executive Director of the Texas Association Against Sexual Assault. She's also the Vice President of the National Alliance to End Sexual Violence.
Thank you, Mira. I appreciate that somebody else thinks half-assedly is a perfectly great descriptive word, for one. It's one of my favorites. As Ellen mentioned, I'm the Vice President of the National Alliance to End Sexual Violence when I'm not doing my paying job at the Texas Coalition. At the National Alliance, our focus is policy work. So as you might imagine, we've been pretty busy in the last couple of years. And I wanted to have this opportunity to tell everybody here that if you're interested in policy work, if sexual violence policy work is something that's important to you, that we want you to be involved. We'd like you to support us, we would like you to help us, and we would appreciate that help as well. So if you'd like to know more about policy work as it pertains to sexual violence, if you can go to our website, which is www.naesv.org. So that's naesv.org. Now I know the theme for today is Imagine, and I thought there was some irony that I would be speaking today because I'm much more of that, let's cut to the chase and do the work kind of person. I'm not exactly the biggest visionary here in the room, I'm sure. And when I was thinking in terms of Imagine, I had lots of stuff like, well, geez, imagine what we could do if we actually had a decent amount of resources to do the work, or imagine what the Alliance could do if we had a full-time staff person, or imagine if I won the lottery, I could retire someday, or, anyway, I digress. But I was at a workshop yesterday by our Director of Prevention, Morgan Curtis, and I think she made a great point. She was talking about you can't measure success if you don't know what success looks like. And I realized that's what imagining is. Imagining is not looking at the way we are now, but the way we want to be. So I encourage all of you, as you listen to the next speakers and reflecting on the speaker we just had, to imagine what your community would be like if you could harness the energy and the commitment and the passion of the speakers that we're going to have here this morning, and just imagine that your community would be a much better place to live. So as I introduce the next speaker, I first would like all the stand and serve students. Would you stand up, because Jacob's part of a group, and I'd like to recognize the other students who are also part of this group. Thank you. Our next speaker, Jacob Chevalier, he is a junior at Bioscience High School in Phoenix, Arizona. He's been with Stand and Serve for 4 or 5 years, I guess since he was maybe a 7th grader, something like that. And I started thinking back to when I was a 7th grader, and I can assure you I was doing something significantly less impressive than changing the world. So in his short life, he serves on the Stand and Serve Coalition co-chair. He is a board member with Peer Solutions. He is a peer educator. He develops, he implements, he evaluates, and he helps sustain year-round primary prevention activities to prevent sexual violence before it occurs. I also suspect that Jacob may have job offers before he leaves here today, but I did promise Jennifer at Peer Solutions I wouldn't attempt to do an interstate transfer to Texas, but the rest of you are on your own there. Jacob is deeply committed to cultivating safety, equality, and respect as norms in his community. He has led the coalition in developing a new initiative entitled The Guts to Be Good, which basically emphasizes 5 things that are simple, but they're profound. And that's that you can make the world a better place by being respectful, by being courteous, by speaking up, by being honest, and being willing to lend a hand. Jacob also hosts the biannual Stand and Serve Days at the Capitol there in Phoenix, including the October Arizona Summit chosen by Health and Human Services and Vice President Joe Biden's office to treat and prevent interpersonal violence. He is a peer educator on Mondays After school, he volunteers regularly, and he is the solution. Please help me welcome an incredible young man, Jacob Chevalier.
What a humbling experience. Okay, so yeah, my name's Jacob Chevalier, and I'm a Stand Serve Coalition co-chair, a Peer Solutions board member, and also a junior who's 16 years old and speaking in front of over 1,000 people. So, thank you all for being here today. I know you all have work to do and you all are changing the world, and you're spending your time listening to a person still in high school. So, I would like you all to please raise your hand if you're happy to be here. Exactly. Okay, so I'm going to spend the next hour with you all talking about, I'm just kidding. So I'm just going to spend 15 minutes sharing you about why and how I imagine and we imagine to create a world free from sexual violence. But first I'd like to talk to you a little bit about myself. So like they said, I've been doing work for preventing violence and sexual violence since I was a fetus. So I started doing this work because I was exposed to Stand and Serve through my sister. And so these people told me that even as a young person, I could make change. I have a voice to end violence. Me being told this, it encouraged me to produce change toward a safe world for everybody. So you all probably know what it is we're trying to change, but it doesn't even take a rocket scientist to know that our young people are in a crisis. For example, according to the National Center for Juvenile Justice, teens and adolescents in high school, so that's like ages 12 to 17, are the largest sexually victimized group of any age. And these people are twice as likely to be sexually victimized as adults. So with me, this strings to me in me because it says our youth are in trouble. Our youth need help, and we should be paying attention to them. So in Arizona, where I live and I go to school, people who identify as male and female are reporting equal rates of perpetration and victimization of sexual violence. And so this says that it's everyone's problem. It is everyone's problem to pay attention, and it's everyone's problem to make a difference. Okay, so the picture I'm painting is that relationship and sexual violence have been normalized among young people. And since Arizona has the highest rate of students planning their own suicides, we were very clear on why we need to end this and why we needed to end this yesterday. But how do we make this change? Well, the first step is including youth every step of the way. So in order to maximize our effectiveness, we know that community must be involved in the implementing, the designing, the evaluating, the sustaining of solutions. And since young people are a major part of our communities and are the cornerstone of our future, we should be valuing their efforts and valuing what they have to say. So imagining a world free of sexual violence must include involving everyone in the solution, especially the young people. Today's children are tomorrow's parents, and we must be thinking about the people who haven't even been born yet. So just recently, Minneapolis reported levels of youth violence in the city dropping by almost 60%. That's 59%. From the beginning, the youth have had a voice and are being credited with this change with the tagline, "No decision about us without us." That's amazing. Well, how could they not win with that line? This is the attitude we need to adopt everywhere in the country. So community development and mobilization is necessary to success, and everyone knows that. And since youth are a part of the community and soon will be the major part of the community because, you know, children and all that, we should be valuing their voice more than anyone. Okay, so I would like to spend about 20 seconds and have everyone close their eyes. I want everyone to imagine a world free of sexual violence. What would that look like? Okay, So what I view this to be, and what Stand and Serve views this to be, is this is a world where safety, equality, and respect are valued as true norms, and they're perceived as true norms. And we call this SER. And so we know that the community needs to be involved to maximize their change efforts. So as Stand and Serve members, we are empowered as individuals to imagine and create this world free of sexual violence. So we know that in order to produce the maximum change, not only do we have to include the youth and everyone in the community, we have to end it as soon as we can. And to do that, we need to use primary prevention tactics. So we have to get at the root cause of this problem, and the sooner the better. So the three main societal conditions that we have identified as students of Stand and Serve, and which we are trying to prevent, is oppression, silence and denial, and normalized violence and harm. And so we call this OSN. And OSN is the opposite of SER. Because if we are safe, and we are equal, and if we are respectful to one another, we can end oppression, we can end the silence and denial, and we can get rid of this normalized violence and harm. Okay, so you might be asking, what do I do to end this? Like, what do we do to go over there in Arizona to prevent sexual violence? Well, about 2 years ago, our Stand and Serve Coalition, which is made up of students and community members and Stand and Serve workers from all across Phoenix, Tempe, and that area, we started working on an initiative with concrete activities that anyone and everyone can cultivate SER to end OSN and prevent sexual violence everywhere. So we came up with the Guts to Be Good. So the Guts to Be Good emphasizes 5 things that we can all do to make this world a better place, and a place that we truly can imagine it to be, which is one free of violence and sexual violence. So we believe that everyone has the guts to be respectful. So being respectful is a core concept of identity respect, and we should have respect for ourselves. We should have respect for others and respect for our world as a whole. Everyone has the guts to be courteous, and courteous is kindness. And kindness is critical to establish as a norm in this world we imagine. Everyone has the guts to speak up. If you see or hear something that you know is wrong, and if you feel safe, then speak up about it. This will end the silence and denial in our community that is now. Everyone has the guts to be honest. Honesty is a core value as a person, and it's hard to end sexual violence if we aren't honest with one another. Everyone has the guts to lend a hand. This is about empowering people as individuals. If everyone can lend a hand to one another, this problem will go away faster than we can all imagine. So, as I mentioned earlier, societal level strategies are really the most effective at making change. So our coalition of primarily youth and community members, and we had adult partners like the Phoenix Library System, we're writing a GDBG resolution with members of the Arizona House and Senate specifying on how all Arizonans can cultivate GDBG and make it safe for our students inside and outside the classroom. So making this resolution includes the efforts of the legislative themselves, because it takes everyone to make social change. So in conclusion, I want everyone again to close your eyes, and this time, imagine a world where safety, equality, and respect are true norms for everyone, everywhere. And take a really deep breath, smile, and go make that happen. Stand and Serve members know that 90% of behavior is learned through modeling. So imagine the world you want to live in, model it to others, and they will do that too. If we all have the guts to be good, we can create a culture free of violence. And remember, if you are into permanent positive solutions, youth must be part of the equation from start to finish. Cultivate ideas like no decision about us without us, and go make that change. Thank you all for taking your time to listen to me speak.